All right. Well, good morning to those who just got notification that our webinar is going live. We're going to give you just a minute to get settled, grab some coffee or water, or depending on what time zone you're logging in from, something stronger. And we will all be on screen here in just a minute. And it looks like we have a few people logging in now. If you want to drop in the comments where you are logging in from, I know our speakers who will be joining us on screen in just a minute here are logging in from at least 3 different time zones. We would love to know where you are joining us from if you want to drop it in the comments. All right, so we are going to kick things off. I'll have to pause that very relaxing music and we will all be on screen here. Now we have to unmute everybody. All right, so we are all real people here. See our lovely faces. I am trying to unmute. Oh no, Megan.
I think we're good.
I don't know.
No, Megan's stuck.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Technical difficulties right out of the gate.
Always.
Made it. All right, so I want to go ahead and I'm going to have you guys introduce yourself. We're just going to go in order of who you can see on screen. So Kyle, why don't you go ahead and kick things off?
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining today. My name is Kyle Mitzner. I'm a partner manager here with HawkSearch. Very excited about the communication, the chat today. It's going to be a really good one, some very exciting content, and especially because we have our partner here, Luminos Labs.
Hi, everybody. I'm happy to be here. Jeremy LaDuque, and I head up product marketing for HawkSearch.
All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Megan Kevin, and I'm a client partner with Luminos Labs. I was Luminos just over 3 years, and really as a client partner, my role I remain with our clients in the lifetime of our partnership from the very beginning with our sales, identifying needs, all the way through the lifetime, making sure that we help them strategically. I'll hand it over to Nicholas.
And I'm Nicholas Sideras. I'm a technology strategist at Luminos Labs. My background is in both software development consulting, like the work Luminos Labs does, as well as leading technology at e-commerce retailers here in the Milwaukee area where I'm based. So as I'm working with Megan, with our clients, and with our partners like HawkSearch, I try to pull from both sides of that experience, not just in the ivory tower of technology, but working with our clients to really solve the practical business problems that they have. Luminos Labs, for those who aren't familiar with us, we're a system integrator based in LA with offices and employees really all around the world. We'll do new implementations from the ground up for e-commerce or just new integrations that an existing site needs. We can do any of that. We have proven work in many different industries, everything from regional brick and mortar chains all the way up to global manufacturers and everything in between. And we work with our partners like HawkSearch to make sure our implementation and integration projects are using the best approaches that our vendors recommend, and they're built with keeping in mind both the future of those platforms and the future of your business needs in mind.
Awesome. And HawkSearch is a search platform at its core, but really, especially lately, we've been adding a lot of features and functionality. It is definitely more than just a search platform. We have a lot of data service, as you can see in the top right there, but a lot of things, a lot of features within the platform that really make it really robust and really accelerate it beyond just a search and discovery platform. It's very robust, as you can see from some of the statistics there. And this year alone, we've released actually 3 new versions with over 12 new features. So very exciting times for HawkSearch. We're really at the forefront of what a search platform should be. Its primary purpose is to drive growth and adaptation from customers. And yeah, I can't wait to explore a little bit of what we've been working on this year, especially when it comes to accelerating time to market, that type of thing. So.
Perfect. Thanks, Kyle. Okay, so Customized journeys with pre-built digital frameworks. Why the heck are you here and when are you getting out of today, right? Well, we could have taken the easy route and come in telling you all the little check boxes you have to hit, how our frameworks and accelerators are going to solve all your digital problems, but we're not. We're going to use this time and give you the tools to really allow you to do a bit more of a self-reflection, to point you in the right direction. We know the journey of e-commerce is tough. It can feel like this crazy daunting task. I mean, looking at that statistic on the screen, I think it speaks for itself, right? This is not an easy task at hand. So maybe you're here because you're considering an entire replatform. Maybe you're looking for a new search provider. Maybe your boss simply told you to fix your website and you have no idea where to begin or what that means. Regardless, our goal today is that you can leave here with a really good understanding of the importance of finding the right technology and right partner, the strategy to utilize pre-built frameworks, accelerators, and a practical project approach, and what happens next for you and how do you go about the next steps. So I'm going to hand it over to Jeremy to get us started.
Thanks, Megan. Yeah, so let's frame this up. I'm going to carry forward what Megan is just talking about and talk about the challenge that we face here. And Megan, you put it pretty good. So we're going to talk through accelerators, pre-built frameworks, things like that, and give you some tools today. But let's pause and take a moment and understand some of the benefits of why you would do that kind of thing, and why you'd look for that in partners. Some of the benefits are, time to market, a more flexible solution, cost, the effectiveness. Megan, you had a quote. I actually have the inverse on the next slide, so we'll look at that in a moment on how many technology projects fail. And I love the quote, you can either have something fast, cheap, or good, but you can only choose two of them. And really in today's day and age, people want all three, right? Customers want all three and they expect that. So we really do have to lean into this accelerator framework concept and understand its value and why. So let's go to the next slide. We have the inverse, Megan, of what you just said. So on the left there, that less than 30% of projects fail. And that's really interesting to look at. And Nicholas, you said it best when you said you're in the ivory tower of technology, right? It's complicated, and we're going to look at that a little bit. But two other stats before we jump in here that's interesting is if you look at the next stat, it's about the customer journey, right? And we all know how important that's become, and we all know the standard that's been established by these large companies out there who are really making it frictionless, and they're making it so easy to click a couple buttons and be done with the experience that we have to get there. But the statistics are real, and there's lots out there that suggest over the next couple years, whoever's making that customer journey best is going to win. And then lastly, and this is interesting, it talks about this packaged business capabilities. Again, another phrase for accelerator framework, and things like that, but only 10%. So, I mean, there's a real opportunity here for businesses to find the right partners, leverage these frameworks, leverage all the benefits of them, and succeed in these projects and with the customer experience. So let's jump to the next slide, because when I think of ivory, tower of technology, I think of this. I find myself, forgetting that, we might be talking to a head of marketing or a head of merchandising, right? And they're not technologists. They get technology, they know what they need, but boy, a lot of times we could literally be talking Greek to folks, and that's really not what they need. And so we have come to believe that this is really what a customer wants. When it comes to HawkSearch particularly, we have to index your data, right? And all a customer really wants to hear is, index my data, clean it up, let's configure your software a little, and then let's go live. Now, in reality, that's not actually how it works. But we need systems in place to make it feel that way to our customers. And with that, I know Megan Luminos has a great methodology for doing that. So let's turn it over to you to talk about that.
Perfect. Thanks, Jeremy. So before we jump too far into the process of how we do that, I want to get more into why is it so important as selecting the right technology as it is selecting the right partner to implement that technology. And I want to highlight these different considerations because they matter. And why they matter is maybe you're considering doing some of these things yourself. Maybe you have the expertise in-house. Maybe you have the developers in-house. Maybe you already have the right focus. Great, that's awesome. But maybe you've been burned in the past by a previous SI or previous technology, whatever it may be. But also having a systems integrator who has been around the block a few times, who knows how to navigate this or at least minimize some of these considerations to a certain degree is really important. And finding that right SI will spend the time with your business and you to understand the technologies that are supporting it. So we can't utilize a framework that's going to help and work instead of reinventing the wheel if we don't understand your business and the needs behind it, right? We're allowed to we work with you to validate your problem statements in conjunction with your strategic aspirations. So being able to really utilize that to ensure that the technology that's going into place, how we implement it, is gonna enable you to use it the way it's supposed to be. It's truly beyond just simply integrating X technology with Y technology. It's the ability to ensure you're enabled to capitalize off the technology investments you've made to drive the change and impact you're aiming for. So Nick up next is going to really talk about how we take these pieces and utilize that in our projects moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jeremy used that expression, you have fast, low cost, good, pick any two. And at Luminos, it's something we've really taken to heart by making sure we can use our years of experience to cover that fast concept, which then frees us up to pick the two of lowering costs and increasing quality. And the way we do that is with something called Polaris, which is our project management and asset framework. It's not pre-built software or a prepackaged e-commerce tool or anything like that, but it's us taking our years of experience, formalizing and documenting those lessons that we've learned, building project plans to reduce that effort, to minimize our risk, and to get the results our customers expect. And by using that experience and leveraging some of our accelerators, our connectors, our pre-built technical assets, we can help our clients skip over that foundational work that every project needs, which then frees everyone up to focus on the unique and important aspects of the project. Something we talk about a lot is that if we reduce the amount of custom work on a project, we're reducing the amount of risk on a project, because custom work is important, but it also means you're doing things that haven't been proved out. And so we think we can, again, leverage all those years of experience, speed things up, and overall make the project better. And HawkSearch has something very similar that they're doing as well, that I think Jeremy or Kyle can speak to.
Yeah, let me jump back in here. Yep, no, exactly. I think our approaches are similar, right? We are taking years of experience, putting a foundation down. You're coming at it from a systems integrator standpoint. We're coming at it from a technology standpoint, but the principles are the same, and there's two fundamental aspects of how we approach this. One is we do build a framework, and we call it our Accelerator framework, because like you just mentioned, we set that foundation down, right? We take all that industry experience and things from a technology standpoint, like security, scalability, stability, the fact that it's battle hardened is already done, which, like you said, allows us to also then focus on what the customer cares about, which is, what about my implementation of this? I don't really want to talk about security. I assume you have that done, right? I want to talk about how are you going to fix this type of data problem we have and things like that. So we've put all those, all of that technology, all of that experience into frameworks. And the second component is, and Megan, you touched on it, is industries, right? We're not just bringing years of experience. We're bringing years of industry experience, right? So every time we go into an industry, we discover very unique things about that industry. So literally in our technology stack, we actually have a framework with pre-built tools into it per industry. And on the next slide, just gives you a sense of some of the industries that we've worked in, because when you really when you work inside of an industry, what's great is not only are we learning about how our technology fits in there, but we're learning so many different nuances of the industry itself. And we're able to carry those forward too in a lot of these pre-built tools that we have in HawkSearch. So with that, Kyle, I believe you're up. You're going to talk more about Hawk.
Yeah, absolutely. So, up to this point, we've been kind of talking about the business use case, which is great, but we also want to ensure that you guys know it's not all smoke and mirrors, so to speak. So I'm more than happy to kind of touch on 2 features that were actually released this year. Out of the 12 that were actually released, I think we actually released more than 12 this year, but 2 of them were very specifically designed to accelerate time to market. So as we kind of mentioned earlier, whether you're sort of a new, or you're switching platforms, you're switching search vendors, or switching technology, we're here to help you. Or if you're just launching an online business or whatever that might be. So the first one I'm going to touch on really quickly. We've been talking about the industry accelerators, but I do want to touch on our rapid UI functionality really quick. So there's kind of 2 pieces to HawkSearch, and I think it's probably true for most software or most commerce technology, is we have the data component. So we're indexing your data, trying to understand your data, all that good stuff. But there's also the UX, or the UI component, and that's where our rapid UI comes in. And what we've built out is a templating system, and you can embed HawkSearch straight into your site within literally almost a few minutes. And so what it's going to render out is a search box, some autocomplete. It's going to render out the facets, the results, and then there's an additional little widget, and you can include recommendations as well. I've actually been very hands-on, and part of my role here with HawkSearch is, as a partner manager, of course, I work very closely with our partners, but I have a bit of a unique role in the sense that I get to work very hands-on with the product itself. And specifically, when it came to, we started to look into building these industry accelerators, I had a bit of an advantage because I'd actually been in the electrical industry. And then I'd also kind of touched into like automation and plumbing, sort of all these little different industries. So I actually had some hands-on experience in helping build out the industry accelerators, which is really, really cool. And this is all about sort of, once you've decided maybe you want to use HawkSearch for your search platform, we're just really increasing your time to market with an industry accelerator. And as Jeremy was mentioning, sort of our intrinsic knowledge of these industries. So very specifically, what I want to get into here is, how are we doing this? So like I said, we're trying to avoid the whole smoke and mirrors situation here, and we want to tell you exactly how we're doing it. So what we're doing is we're going into each industry, and a lot of these industries, we have very specific HawkSearch customers. Of course, we're learning all the time about how those industries work. But what we can also do is really break each industry down into very specific categories. And we actually have a quote on our site from our EVP of product, which I really, really liked. But what HawkSearch is really doing is tailoring vertical solutions with advanced AI and industry expertise. So I kind of cover the industry expertise. We're actually leveraging some AI tools to help with this process as well. So we're understanding these key categories. We're leveraging some artificial intelligence to help build out maybe our search terms, maybe how the merchandising should work. And then, of course, we have our measure conversions and all these extra tools within HawkSearch. And as we kind of mentioned before, the goal isn't to get a customer to 100% ready to launch, but a good portion of the way. And one thing you'll always find in every single industry, doesn't matter what industry it is, each customer has unique adjustments that fit their product catalog. So, of course, we're trying to get you to a certain percentage, a certain way launched, a certain percentage launched. We're trying to build out as much as we can within HawkSearch before you even get to touch the tool. And then we're helping you, assist you with the final kind of components to make sure that we're at 100%. And we kind of have a saying, there's each industry is a special little unique snowflake is one of the terms I like to use. But so yeah, we're getting to a certain percentage, and then the rest of the way we'll get like a search analyst to help you out to get to the final steps there. So there are a few specific HawkSearch features that we talked about just briefly on the last slide, but I kind of wanted to grill into these a little bit. HawkSearch is very good, and we've kind of leveraged this electrical industry accelerator. This is one of the first ones we built out. As I mentioned, I actually had a lot of expertise in this specific industry, which helped us really start to understand how we could build these industry accelerators. But for this particular use case, we'll just use the example of the electrical one. It's one that HawkSearch works very, very well in. We have a lot of use cases on this specific accelerator. But there's a couple very specific features within HawkSearch that we're kind of pre-configuring for you. The first thing is our ability to handle SKU fields. And we apply certain analyzers to help understand how maybe a customer or someone that's on the site would search a SKU, for example. Everyone searches it differently. Sometimes they include some dashes, sometimes they have a period, or sometimes they'll put a space, or there's many different ways, and HawkSearch is really good at understanding this, and this is all kind of pre-configured. One of our sort of flagship features is, of course, the unit of measure conversion. So if you're an electrical distributor, maybe we're converting voltage, wattage, amperage, all that good stuff. Or maybe it's just a simple measurement conversion. If you're in the plumbing industry, for example, we would have a pre-configured sim field for gallons per minute to switch it to liters per second. If you're specifically dealing with pumps, things of that nature. Of course, our machine learning is pre-configured with some industry best practices. And what we're really trying to do here is avoid a cold start. Of course, machine learning requires a bit of knowledge to get going, but we're making sure that we don't have any cold starts there. And then the final thing is, of course, we want our synonyms and our keyword replacements, our stop words, all that good stuff to be ready to go for you. And this is where, for the synonyms specifically, sometimes we are using some machine learning to generate those synonyms. We have some intrinsic knowledge, of course, but then it can also, and there's some pretty non-PG, I'll say, slang terms within the electrical distribution world that you could include as well. And the other thing to really understand with, if it was electrical or whatever industry it is, some of these synonyms really differ per region. So it's really important to make sure you understand that, one part might be called something in this region, and then maybe called a different word in a different region. So HawkSearch has really kind of taken all this information, put it all together in a nice little package. And we've also made it super easy to install, of course, and it's just, as you can see, easy as 1, 2, 3. No, but really, it is very easy to get it up and running. We have a little package that we'll add to HawkSearch. Once the package is added, then we go in with that specific customer and we make sure everything is set exactly as that customer would need. We make sure that we have those specific use cases for the specific regions, all that good stuff, and anything that matches to your product catalog. And then finally, we launch a site, and this is where the rapid UI can come in. So once we have everything in HawkSearch ready to go, we can apply rapid UI to your front-end components, and then make sure everything's looking, working, acting perfectly. So, and I believe we have, I think we can pass it back over to Luminos Labs and kind of wrap this whole webinar up and with a few key ideas to leave with.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle, for running through all of that. And I think that's a great overview of how HawkSearch has these pre-built industry capabilities that don't require anyone from these industries to come in and reinvent the wheel and try and figure all of that out on their own. And then that also sets the stage for Luminos coming in as an SI to be able to do some of the heavy technical lifting. Your UI widgets are great. As you said, you can get those up and running quickly, but you also need a way to feed all your product data into Hawk or CMS content or whatever you're going to be searching. And that's something where we have a lot of experience doing that in a reliable way. So again, something where You may not be able to get that up and running in a matter of minutes, like your UI widgets, but we do have assets we can pull from to help make sure we're not starting from scratch on those sorts of integrations as well. And we're happy to dive deeper into that in individual conversations with people and explain how that can work with HawkSearch to add that into their site and improve their search results.
Perfect. Thanks, Nick, for that. So, thanks everyone for attending here today and really kind of wrapping everything together and closing up where we are, looking inward and kind of doing that self-assessment, identifying where you are in the current position in this process. Have you identified a search platform? Have you identified a commerce platform? Whatever it might be, or maybe you have an SI, but you don't know the technology next. Whatever it is, identify your current spot and figure out what's your next best step. And if you're not sure, reach out to either of us. We're happy to point you in the right direction and have some conversations of how to get there. And in that, going through that risk mitigation process and closing up the gap with everything else. But if there's anything else you guys ever need, please don't hesitate to reach out to either HawkSearch or ourselves at Luminos Labs. We would love to hear from you. Thanks so much, everyone.
All right. And with that, I have to applaud this group. Anytime a webinar is exactly the 30-minute slot, I am so impressed with the speakers. So I just wanted to thank Kyle, Jeremy, Megan, Nicholas. Thank you so much for your time. I'll leave these QR codes up on the screen. If you do want to follow up with any questions about the content that was covered, go ahead and scan the code. It'll take you to each of our websites where you can reach out, and feel free to mention that you had a question from this webinar specifically. And with that, we will give our audience back a couple extra minutes of their morning or afternoon, depending on where they're logging in from. But just wanted to thank you guys. Unless there was anything else, any other questions or things you wanted to cover. Otherwise, I'm just going to pop this on the full screen, and all right, we are good to go.